Hi, I am Pratishtha and I am a rapper, a counseling student, like counselor in training. I am applying for my master's in a bit, like in counseling psychology. I have been in this space for 5 years. Like I've graduated in bachelor's in psychology. I have taken multiple counseling courses. I'm pretty much ready to start counseling because I've seen like 25 clients, but I cannot practice yet until I have a master's. So I cannot call myself a counselor, but I do have a lot of the theoretical background and a little bit of practical experience that a counselor does have. And I'm talking about a psychological counselor, a therapist, psychotherapist, same thing. Yeah. So let's get started. Let's talk about Spider-Man. I watched it yesterday. I am not a Marvel super fan, but I'm fan enough to be aware of the timeline and understand what's happening. And enough that if my friends answer a few questions, I'm able to catch up to pretty much any movie and show. But in the current timeline, I don't need explanations. I needed explanations for this movie because it had references from my childhood. So my friends had to remind me of a lot of things. But in general, like if I watch Captain America and stuff, I will not need an explanation. I will be able to catch up. So yeah, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this conversation. I'm gonna quickly review. When I watched yesterday Spider-Man with my best friends and my boyfriend, I have seen a lot of things that show that the world is more ready to accept mental health and make room for mental health, and I wanted to explore that a little bit. I wanted to acknowledge this moment of beauty and grace and joy and just satisfaction with you all, because we really need to know certain things about men's mental health. So I think the theme of this video and the movie psychologically was men's mental health, and the mental health of a superhero is always a theme in these Marvel movies and superhero movies, because they have a very particular type of stress and they need particular sort of a support group and particular sort of psychological first aid, and that needs to be spoken about. So yeah, let's get into it. 3 minute long intro, I love it. First thing that stood out for me the most was how sensitive and kind Spider-Man was, and just wholesome and just very validating, assuring, very vocal about his love for you, and not overly romantic and over the top and toxic masculine and always saving the day and needing his ego constantly petted. He's reassuring, but also can take responsibility. He likes to draw boundaries and likes to communicate. He always says, hold on, we can talk about it, and also shows the ability to talk about it. Like, it's not like I'll say we can talk about it, but then I'll bully you. But then I'll manipulate you into agreeing with me. I'll make sure you agree with me. That's not talking, actually. Actually, talking is listening to each other, understanding each other, giving a safe space, assuming generously, assuming they are not villains, assuming they're trying their best, assuming they really wanted to make it work, assuming that there is a reason for everything and it's not their fault and it's not your fault, and assuming that they must be going through something or there must be something that made them do it, and having empathy and compassion for yourself and the other person. That's communication. And I see that in multiple instances that he's open to communicate for real. And if you really tell him your truth, he's not going to bash you with something. He's not going to make up excuses and tell you you're lying and you're wrong. And he's not gaslighting kind. He is genuinely willing to listen. And that's a really good trait, and that's a really good way to portray a hero who actually tries to connect with you rather than be the hero all the time and has to be always right and always bigger than everybody and save the day all the time. He's allowing himself to be influenced by other people constantly, and that was a really good role model to have. I'm impressed. Two, something that shows a lot of strength is someone's ability to accept love and accept support and hold on to it. Like when someone's showing you love and you can let them, that shows a lot of courage, because it can be really hard to be loved a lot of times, especially for people who are not used to being seen as they are, loved as they are, without meeting someone's expectations or having a long list of requirements to fulfill. If you are loved by on your own, even when you feel messed up and you feel like you've done everything wrong on the planet, everything wrong is happening because of you, if you're still loved and someone's there to hug you and hold you through your pain, like in the last scene, almost just before the climax when he's crying, and they find him out and they hunt him down, like where would he go if he was sad, and then they go to hold him. Both of them go and hold him, and they don't just bring the other two guys immediately. I'm still scared to take the name, like I'm giving spoilers, but the other two guys, they didn't just bring two more Spider-Man with them and just be like, hey, deal with this. They first hugged him. When they saw him, he was not even crying, but you knew he was grieving. You knew he was in pain. It's obvious. He's obviously in physical pain because he has blood on his face, but you can see, you can look at his face once and you can see that he is in emotional pain. So he's ready to explore his emotions. He's not pretending that everything's fine. He's ready to feel them, and that's beautiful. And I have massive respect for the character and the writers and the person who played the character. Like, I think Tom Holland is killing it, and I am a fan now. Because of how positive and pro mental health that whole thing was, I have started to really like him as well. First they hug him, and then when they have had a moment of showing them that they're there for them, then they bring on the new guys, and they're like, okay, there's some people you'd have to meet. I like the way she said some people. Some people. Okay, so the a sense of community when you're grieving something, when you're in pain, if you can hug somebody and hold somebody, it can be a huge source of healing and can really make the process that much more easier. If you're grieving in isolation, if you are in pain in isolation, we all know how 2020 felt like. It was so painful. At least for me, it started to hurt physically. It started to pain in my body. I was feeling smaller like this. I was sadder. I was smaller. I felt disempowered in 2020 because I was in stress and pain in isolation. If through that pain, if we could have had support groups, physical meetings, if we could touch each other, the value of touching and holding somebody and caressing somebody when you are in pain is infinitely big. Grieving in isolation, dealing with the breakup alone, watching someone, like losing someone in imagination, reality, or because they are dead, alone can be really harmful. And if you have someone with you in a very frightening moment, or in a very risky moment, life threatening moment, or some a moment where you could have trauma, having someone physically touch you and hold you and caress you is like the utmost form of healing, because of the kind of hormones and neurotransmitters that get released, the way the brain and the body interprets it. You can literally heal your body that goes through like psychological distress through holding each other. It's actually an antidote. It is scientifically based, it's biologically true. So I'm not making this up, okay? You can literally heal yourself and people around you by hugging them more, by touching them more. It has a lot of value, lot of healing value. So I loved that they kept reassuring him with actions, touch, and with words. So the entire movie is about holding each other through pain and holding each other through distress and confusion and chaos, and reassuring each other through words, actions, and touch. And it's beautiful. That's how it's done. You don't go around questioning the person, like, why did you do this? You shouldn't have done this. I'm there for you, but you have to do things like this. What is that behavior? No, it's the way Zendaya's character MJ does that. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's literally like a support group. It's literally so therapeutic to have a person around you and who doesn't judge your decisions, who just says, okay, maybe next time loop me in. Can we figure something out? She keeps saying that. I think she said it at least thrice. Like, I'm sure we can figure something out. Like, let's talk about it. She's also really willing to talk about it for real. And actually just trying her best to just be there for him. So he takes the decision. She goes with it. Even Ned, at the end, the last scene, they both go with it. They say, yeah, okay, I hope you make sure you will, okay? When you meet me, then you say, I love you. Don't say it now. So they both, of course, she starts having a breakdown. She's like, how, and like she starts getting teary eyed. She does cry a little bit, but she trusts him. She agrees with it. Having someone who trusts you and supports your decisions and stays with you even if you make mistakes is super, super, super special, and can really boost your self esteem and self confidence when you're going through a crisis. And Spider Man we know is going through a crisis. I think it's obvious. He's just 17. He has to deal with multiverses. His seniors are coming here. He has to perform in front of everybody. He has to save so many lives while just trying to just get into college. It's insane. It's beautifully written, beautifully executed. It just, you can feel his pain, right? Throughout. From the beginning, like you have, they have you. You're with them. You're on this journey with them throughout, from the beginning. And you can feel the pain of having to apply for college and also trying to save the world at the same time. So in that stress, if someone believes in you, if someone's there for you, if someone doesn't question your life decisions, even if they impact them, like if me and my partner, we go on a tour and he's the one planning the tour and he makes mistakes and it affects me also, and I just support him instead of blaming him and fighting with him, and I give him feedback in a good way that, okay, maybe not like that, maybe like this, yeah, but not like, how can you do this? Oh my God, how can you get this wrong here? You were supposed to plan this, you were supposed to know this. I'm not being supportive. So to be there for somebody, to enrich the relationship, to empower them to do better, you have to have unconditional positive regard, is what we call it in psychology. Unconditional acceptance. Unconditional doesn't mean no matter what they do, no matter how much they harm you, you just accept it and never draw a boundary and never oppose it, always agree with them. No, 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 that is not what it means. No, just like shoving it in your face. No. But it's more like, even if you mess it up, I'm not gonna hate you or judge you or run away. You have the space to make mistakes. In this relationship, you are safe enough to make mistakes and we'll figure it out together. Of course, I would like you to make less mistakes, but we're human and we make mistakes. Like, I make a lot of mistakes too, and it's fine and it's part of life. I'm here for you. I'm not going to leave you just because you made one mistake or 100. If you're working to get better, or if you respect my boundaries, or if you love me as I am, so and so, whatever your requirements are. So, what are your non negotiables? Like things you cannot accept and things you can manage. Like, if we are half an hour late to a party, maybe that's not a big deal. If it's not a big deal to me, I can accept. But like, maybe as long as you love me, as long as you're there for me, we can figure it out. As long as you're not cheating on me, I'm here for you and we'll sort it out. I'll not say he's the one we're late because of. I'm okay with being late. Now let's say you have a problem with being late and you're a very punctual person and discipline means a lot to you. Then you have the conversation with them where you draw the boundary. Okay, if we're gonna be 10 minutes late, I can manage, but half an hour is just too much for me and I'm not okay with it. And we're gonna do this if you're 30 minutes late. Or I will either not tell you the right time, I will tell you 30 minutes earlier, or I will leave if you are getting late. At least I want to go on time, you can come on your own. If you want me to drop you, if you want me to go with you, you please start early and get there 30 minutes before so we can start on time. And then I can drop you or pick you up and go with you, whatever. So you can draw that boundary. So you have to understand what is okay for you and what is not okay for you and stick to that. And other things you can support. And even for that thing, you can have a human heart-to-heart conversation rather than bullying them and putting them down and abusing them and making them feel like shit. That's not the point. So even if you do have an issue with something, even if you want to draw a boundary, there is a human, sweet, kind, compassionate way of doing that. Doesn't mean you fall on their feet and you pamper them. It means you value their space, but you value yours also, and you say it with respect and not dominance. That's the idea. Okay, let's move on. Spider-Man support group. I think that was my favorite bit. When the three Spider-Men met, they were literally a Spider-Man support group. That's exactly how a support group works. Listening to each other, letting them finish, understanding each other without saying anything. I mean, that comes with a lot of similar shared experience and time that they spend with each other, but it's not necessary. Like, if you're joining a support group for the first time, you're meeting them for the first time, you might not understand each other unspoken, but that's not necessary. But that's definitely something that feels supportive. Like, if I don't have to explain and someone will understand me without a long conversation, that's definitely very confidence boosting, so that was really nice. And then sharing personal instances and talking about their own journey. And when he lost himself and started beating him up and slapping him left and right, they didn't hate him, they didn't shout on him, they saw it and then they stopped him. And then they finally managed to do the thing they were supposed to do. But then They didn't go like, oh my god, what an asshole, why are you doing that, what is wrong with you? There was not a single moment of judgment. No one was judging each other and putting pressure on each other, and he needed that to get, to make it happen. He needed that unconditional positive regard, that support, that I can make mistakes and no one's here to bash me, because we all know what it's like when someone's just over our shoulder just telling, no, that's not right, that's wrong. Or some people's just presence makes you underconfident. Yeah, those people really criticize, right? The people who criticize constantly, who are always finding flaws in what you're doing, make you feel worse about yourself, right? And it definitely brings down a person's performance. But when you are surrounded by people who let you make mistakes or accept you as you are or don't shout on you constantly, you can perform better. And that's what happened. Both of them were elders, both of them were more experienced, both of them could have lectured him for 2 hours and be like, no, we know everything and you should shut up and be the wise old Dumbledore. But they heard him out. They let him talk. They let him come up with ideas. They cooperated with him. They didn't say, I'm more experienced, you can't tell me, let me decide. They said, okay, you are Spider-Man 1, I'm 2, I'm 3, we'll just follow what you say. We'll go with you, okay, and we'll move together, we'll work together. And I like that they showed that they were uncoordinated at first. It was imperfect, right? You don't have you just met each other. How can you be perfectly coordinated? You three will have your own ways of working. One of you shoots webs differently. Oh my god. And 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 then second try and couple of like a team meeting, brief team meeting, quick team meeting, so relatable, right? We all do quick team meetings when in the middle of work or in the middle of a plan when it has to be executed. Spider-Man do that too, like so relatable. They're not perfect, they don't get everything right all the time, like Captain America. I mean, I find Captain America very perfect, and I think this is kind of my favorite Marvel movie because it was vulnerable, intimate, imperfect, and everything. And yeah, maybe also because I relate to I'm closer to this Spider-Man's age group than like Hulk or Captain Marvel or Iron Man. They're much elder to me. Maybe that's a factor why I find this one more relatable. But yeah, when the second time they try, then they are coordinated, which makes sense, right? Like you have to talk to each other a little bit. You have to get to know each other's styles a little bit at least, and then do it together. Even just second attempt makes it more realistic than constant perfection, still drives the message home. The way they constantly kept reassuring each other, they hugged, they said, I love you, they were understanding, they looked at each other with compassion, they were constantly trying to do the right thing, the good thing, and be the good guy. And the comic timing was amazing. So I think their sync was so good because they all came from the same place. They had the same heart, same intention, purpose. No one was trying to be cool, but they were naturally cool because they were kind. And I loved that uh, the one Spider-Man, when he saved the girl, like other person's girl, he gets a redemption moment. He gets to redeem himself and he's instantly tearing up. I love it. Like, shouldn't you? Like, some moments make you just like, ooh, just like, oh, ah. You can have that second, right? Even if you're a guy, you're fucking Spider-Man, you should have that moment. I'm glad they added that moment. Another concept they really beautifully presented is the concept of not dehumanizing the villain. Dehumanizing is the act of making someone appear less than human, calling them a demon, a villain, a rat, a monster, a monkey, or so on and so forth, to justify harming them. So the concept goes like this. You don't like what someone said or does or did or stands for, so you want to harm them, but human beings don't want to know that they're hurting somebody. Okay, that's too much for a self-esteem. We want to believe that we're good people all the time. So the brain makes up the story that this person is less than. They deserve to be hit. They deserve to be shouted on. They deserve to be treated the way I'm treating. It's the right thing to do. So when we dehumanize the person, less than human. You're not human. You're a rat. You're not human. You're a monster. So when you make someone less than, you convince yourself that they are less than you or less than human. They don't deserve human rights, and then you can hit them. That's how the brain justifies itself. Like, now I can harm you because you're not human, you're not on my level, you're below. I can harm you. And in that process, we really hurt the other person, the other community, the other bunch of people on the other side. And with these terms and conditions, we become a really harmful culture. But if you don't dehumanize them, when they're angry, even when they're tearing apart, even if they're mean to you, you see the human in them. You see that they are flawed and they're trying their best, and there is a reason why they are like that, and have compassion for them. You transcend the bullshit. You get through all the madness and you go to a good place where you can genuinely connect with each other, genuinely meet people in the middle. And all three of them, in the ending scenes and throughout the show, never dehumanize the guy. So he starts to slap the guy, but then he also does the right thing. He doesn't just slap him and kill him and murder him and run away. He was beginning to. When he got a moment to think about it and take a step back, he did do the right thing. He grabbed it and he put it on his neck and he healed him. He cured him. He had the choice and he made it. The whole time, even if the person is stabbing you in the back, you do not forget that they're human. You believe in the better version of them. You believe that they can heal. You believe that they can become a better person. And that is something that not just heroes need to do, but we need to do as well. I think that's something we can all take away from, is that let's try to see the best in people even when they are stabbing us in the back, hurting our feelings, disappointing us, or we are convinced that they don't like us, or we don't like them, or we hate them, or they don't mean well, or they don't care, or they can never understand us. Even in those moments, if we can take a breath and remember that they are humans trying their best, and this is what they know right now, this is their best right now, this is what they understand right now, and there must be some reason that they're still holding on to this. They're still trying to protect this version or this lie or this story they tell themselves because it helps them in some way. For example, electric guy, he when he lost his power, he was like, who am I without this? Who am I if not the destructor? Look at you, you're cool. And that's when his real insecurity showed up, and it was a beautiful moment because we get to really know him rather than just call him a villain. We get to know why he is holding on to this fake identity, because it empowers him, because he feels like he's nobody without that. So always understand that people are protecting something for a reason. People are the way they are because it helps them feel better. It helps them survive better. It's a strategy, it's a mechanism to deal with life. And you can't just change people overnight, or have, with putting terms and conditions, with scolding them, with being mean to them or dehumanizing them. You can be there for people, have compassion for people, and then in the process get to know them and really meet them where they are, and then see how you both get along, or where you can meet in the middle, or who needs to change, or what needs to change, or what's happening, whose insecurities are coming up, how can we really be there for each other. So next time you disagree with somebody, here's a tip from Spider-Man: give them a chance, give yourself a chance, see them for more than just an angry screaming bad person. See them for who they are. See yourself for who you are. Where is it hurting? What part of you is in pain right now? Do you think they must be in pain and they're protecting themselves? Look at people as people who are doing their best with whatever they know, with whatever resources they have, with whatever they do understand. And you're doing your best too. You are trying to show up every day and be a better version of yourself, and doing whatever is needed to protect your sense of self, your identity, your self worth, and stop yourself from a breakdown. And that's human, and you're okay for doing that, and they're okay for doing that. It's okay to do that, as long as you can meet people where they are, as you can keep trying to understand yourself and the others better, and have compassion for yourself and others. You're doing great. That's my message for the day. Thank you for watching Spider-Man and me and this video. And if you like it, please comment a heart in the comments so that I know you actually watched till the end. So this is our secret language. Like, if you put a heart, it tells me that you watched till the end. Okay, please leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching. You can also let me know on Instagram or in the comments what you would like me to make next, or what topic would you like me to cover next. Let's do it. Annyeong.